What is up, gaming world? Welcome to another edition of Town Hall, hashtag Town Hall Tuesday, right? Is that our thing, Guzzy?
Correct.
So we're done. Okay. Town Hall Tuesday. And this is, of course, Town Hall, part of the Gaming Grounds Podcast Network. As always, your lovely host, Morgz here. And today I am hanging out with Guzzy and Derp, the king of the Derps, the Derp professional. What is up, guys? How we doing today?
Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Oh,
Just
Wonder if
steal my thing.
that was
Alright.
planned. But today's going to be, as always, a fun, interesting, and amusing talk, at least for us. I hope it is for you guys. We are going to be talking about the struggles of being a sports fan that loves sports games on consoles. And this has been a running problem for a very long time, as well as Pokemon dropping and us talking about what we like, what we don't like, and maybe a little bit into detail with the controversies that happened in the game. And then finally, just as a little note, we will not be touching on everything involved in sports games, as me and Guzzy, as we were planning, decided that we are going to talk about this in industry update, and that will be not this week's update, but next week's gamer update, as that will be our industry update on sports games, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And for those who are listening live this week or right after this drops on Tuesday, Friday, we are dropping our industry update with our interview. And maybe Guzzy, just real quick, just drop a little line about that and tell the audience about it.
So that's with my friend Andrew. Naylor also knows him.
Derp.
Derp knows him. And essentially, I used to work for his dad, so we've kind of been in touch all these years. He's going to school. He wants to get into video games in a way. I think he's like a history major and a computer science major. And essentially, he was doing club esports, just like a video game club, turned it into a varsity sport at his school. So we asked some questions about that, and we're also going to have him on for another episode asking about esports agents. He's working with one of his uncles, I think, is a lawyer, so he's trying to figure out the specifics in terms of like what he needs to do to start up his own esports agency. So that'll be another really cool topic with him.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to kind of recap really quick on that, this Friday's episode on Industry Update will be an interview with him as he talks about, starting a club team, making it into a varsity team at the collegiate level. They talk about tournaments and everything. So anybody that's ever thought about doing that, is in college right now, that wants to do that, or was really just interested in how that happens, definitely tune in, take a listen. He was very knowledgeable on the topic, and he will be on another episode, so that is very exciting. So, Derp, what's your view on sports games?
I mean, back in the heyday, like Nintendo 64 kind of deal. I used to go over my neighbor's house, and I mean, we both had Nintendo 64, so whoever's house we were at, we would play with like Madden 96 or some shit, like some old Madden game. I mean, I enjoy once in a while kind of Maddens, FIFAs. I'm really bad at FIFA, but I like him. I like playing it once in a while. But I don't really stay like too up to date with them, so I'm not really sure like the newest, hippest, cool kid stuff there. But every once in a while, I'll dabble in that.
All right. Hey, nothing wrong with that. Guzzy, what's the stance on you? I know you were a big avid soccer player for a while of your life.
Right. So growing up, I used to play FIFA a lot. My brother plays FIFA religiously.
Oh my God, that and Madden, he's always on.
Right. Well, he's currently playing FIFA right now, if we want to get into specifics. So I always enjoyed playing Madden. I would never be able to finish a game, though. I just think it gets too boring. Football's a sport to me where it's just boring, honestly. And I think it's because of a lot of the pauses. But I was a big FIFA guy. Wasn't until high school until I turned into a big hockey guy, and like every year I buy NHL, except for this year. Due to what we're actually going to be touching on with like what's the point in buying games that are sports games, updated rosters year after year. I do have MLB The Show. First time I've ever gotten a baseball game that wasn't backyard baseball, which was the best game on game.
They were the greatest sports games,
including
ever.
On PC too. Backyard soccer was amazing.
If you didn't pick Pablo, you were wrong.
Yeah,
Right.
your team was wrong,
That's
yeah.
it.
Right. or Pete Wheeler.
Love
Um,
him too.
so yeah, those were like my go-to games. You won't see me. I mean, I think I've played one like 2K game. I never really got into basketball, but otherwise it's mainly just hockey for me. And to be honest, I don't really play sports games that much anymore, just because it's kind of the same thing year after year.
Yeah. So for me, sports games were always big in the house. It was always good to like challenge people. I remember even growing up, my dad uh, playing all his buddies in like hockey and stuff on like Sega Genesis and all that. So I had a really long history with it. I stopped buying Madden years ago for the topic that we're going to be talking about mainly today, and I really stuck with 2K and MLB The Show. I didn't buy the show for the last couple years, but I bought this year's. And FIFA. I'm not a big soccer guy. I love watching it. I never really learned how to play it. The most I've ever played it was like you and your brother when we went and played at the park. But it's a really fun game. And then going back to what you said, like the backyard games, I had them all: backyard soccer, backyard football, backyard baseball, backyard basketball. They were so much fun, so well done, and it was just a really good like click 'em and shoot game, and that was great. But I think where my disconnect happens is when I remember playing when I was oh no, we might be having some technical issues. Hey Derp, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, everything's coming out good.
Yes, sir.
All right, my mic was getting a little wonky there, but yeah. So I played the games. It was a lot of fun. Um, but my favorite part of playing these sports games was me being in the sports games. I played sports all the way up to college, and I really liked being a part of it. But I feel like Madden, just the customization option and the feeling of being there just isn't there anymore. I remember when I was a kid, it was like me, my brother, and like my brother's best friend who were always at the house. And we would, in Madden, you used to be able to pick like your mom and your dad, and we would sit there randomly for hours just rolling until you got like the perfect setup, which was like your dad was a Hall of Fame running back or Hall of Fame quarterback, and your mom was a Olympic gold medalist in the sprints. And you do that for hours, and your person would be great. And it was so much fun. And then Madden just kind of lost that interest. It doesn't feel that fun anymore. And then the show just does really good. I really enjoy always, Road to the Show was always so much fun. 2K's hit or miss for me when it comes to those like story modes. Sometimes the story really gets you involved and brought in. Other times it's just really boring. But all these topics will be expanded on in our industry update podcast. And I think the worst problem that these sports games in general have, but I think the main issue with that is Madden, is that you are paying $60 every 10 to 12 months to get a game where it's the exact same game with very minor fixes or changes, and all they do is just rotate the roster and update it, which you can do currently on the roster that you have for free, minus a couple of the fixes that they have. So that's a real problem I have in gaming. And I think, Derp, we were talking about this earlier. That's like if saying you every year you bought the same Call of Duty, it had the same maps, everything the same. The only thing that was different is a couple guns were different. Like, and you're paying full retail price every single time.
Yeah, no, that sounds a little bit rough for full retail.
Yeah, like $60 for a brand new game every time. And then you turn it on to play it, and you're like, oh my God, even the menu is almost exactly the same. Like, nothing is different.
You're just hitting deja
And
vu
you
when you
can't,
turn it
like,
on.
right, exactly. And you can't play, like, I can't be playing Madden 18 and play Guzzy's brother who's playing Madden 19 or anything like that, even though the game's pretty much, I would assume, is in the same, like, code.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm no gaming expert or coder, but I feel like $60 for a walk in the park just seems absolutely astronomically ridiculous. Like, would you pay for Call of Duty, or if like CSO was retail and you had to buy it every year, like would you do that just for the same exact maps or a couple gun or knife upgrades?
Absolutely not. I wouldn't.
All right. Guzzy, tell me what you think.
So for me, like I'm gonna take it more on the NHL approach, just because I didn't really play. I mean, like Madden to me is the worst sports game that's out there. Um, Granted, I haven't played like the boxing and whatnot. Like I only like out of the mainstream sports, Madden is the worst one. And I think you've hit it spot on. Like gameplay doesn't change, and to be honest, I think they've tried to change it recently, like the last 3 years compared to what it used to be. I think they've changed it so much that and maybe it's just me not caring about it. I think it's made it difficult, and I think it's made it not as pleasing to play as like a very small football fan. I just don't have any interest playing it now. So Madden wise, like I completely understand why I would not pay or why anybody wouldn't pay, especially with the rosters. But in the NHL terms, I mean, EA I think has recently undergone like some game engine changes. I could be wrong within the last couple of years or so. Because I remember NHL like, oh, new game engine, so all new skating engine or whatever it is. Skating mechanics, I think, is what they actually marketed it as. Like that's fine. To me, a little different. And to be honest with you, I did notice a difference. It could be a small difference, but it was a more realistic difference, which was perfectly fine. Like I think Madden's actually kind of fake with a lot of what happens. But in NHL, like I am a victim of paying $60 a year, and like I said, I didn't do it this year, mainly because I was like, what's the point? Like I don't really play it that much anymore. And it's really just the same thing. Like, yeah, they add different features each time. Like NHL, I think, is one of the better ones of doing it. It's all EA. It's just a different division of EA. NHL added like the Ultimate Team when that first came out, and that's the FIFA and Madden. Then from there, it went. I believe it went right into like 3v3s, which was actually very fun. It just got old quickly. So like they have
Yeah.
like different features in the game coming out. And that I appreciate, but I don't think it's worth the $60 just for that feature. One thing I will say before like actually getting super deep, and that's like again industry update, is I think the game that kind of did it right back in the day, and I think everybody had a connection with it that was fans of the game, was the NCAA version of it. Everybody liked the idea of the whole college sports being able to play whoever, and then being able to import your character, your NCAA character, into Madden. My biggest thing about playing these sports games was always doing the be a pro, like road to the show, whatever it is, and
Right.
seeing how well you can perform, who signs you to the max contract, whatever it is, like where you draft, stuff like that. I think the coolest feature was being able to import your NCAA character and go from there. Like that's a feature that to me is still very underrated, and all these allegations and college players shouldn't be able to get paid off of their name, or they should, whatever it is. Like I think adding that feature where you can import your character adds to the story, and it's still EA, so it's going to completely enhance the game. So if you're sitting here as a freshman on the NCAA game, which I never played honestly, then it's like, okay, I'm a freshman, I'm working my way up, and then I get drafted. Okay, now that I'm drafted, let me work in the NFL and see what I can do. And it builds that story and enhances the gameplay aspect of it, which is actually very cool. NHL has a version like that. FIFA, I don't think necessarily like FIFA. You start in the very small leagues. NHL, you can actually start like in the small leagues as well, like the extreme minors. Baseball, you start in the minors, but I guess part of that's because there is no minor league in football. But again, it enhances the storyline of going from college into the NFL and whatnot.
Right. And I agree with that. And I definitely think that if and when NCAA comes back, that will be like something that will boost Madden up again, because I think a lot of people, myself included, loved playing NCAA, going your 3 to 4 years and then being able to export your character and then import it into Madden and then play that same character. You feel connected. Like it was you from freshman year of college up. And even in the NCAA game, you would play like the championship game of high school. So you had your full like life cycle experience pretty much. And I really think that would definitely help them out. But where some games thrive, like MLB The Show and I guess like FIFA with their story story mode, I guess that can get you really involved in it. But like 2K, for example, which gets a lot of buzz and has its own professional esports league, really thrives. NHL's the exact same way because they do have those minor leagues, and I think what you said hits the nail on the head. Where not having that in Madden, it really limits what they're trying to accomplish. So that's a very good point, and I like what you're talking about there. But we will get a lot more into depth in this in our podcast. I don't want to hit all our key points here in this one, so we're just going to make the quick, happy, and beautiful transition into Pokemon and what we're thinking about there. But real quick, right before I did that, has any of you guys seen anything about the new Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, or are interested in playing it or getting it?
I don't even remember the last. Actually, I do remember the last Star Wars game I played. I don't remember the name.
Was it Battlefront?
I literally just said I don't remember the name. So
All right, but listen, I'm trying
it
to give you
could
an answer
be
because
question mark.
I enjoyed the first Star Wars Battlefront. Thought that was the best Star Wars game. The last one I played was Battlefront when they remade it and whatnot. The idea was there, the execution wasn't, in my opinion. I think that's why it died quickly. Battlefront 2 was like completely irrelevant.
Well, you gotta remember all the controversy that came out when Battlefront
Right.
2, after they remade them and come out with EA and their money grab that they made it into.
I think that was just like the industry theme there, like before Battle Royale type of thing.
Right.
I personally don't have any interest playing the new Star Wars. I haven't seen any gameplay. I like the Star Wars series. I think it's a very interesting take on someone's like imagination. I'm gonna watch some streamers, I think, play it, but I really don't have any interest in picking up the game.
Right. Well, I'm gonna get it after I get Pokemon, because Pokemon's on my must grab list first, because I'm a big Pokemon guy. But this game looks awesome. I absolutely loved Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic 2. So this is like a really big thing for me as a single player event. And then I played SOTAR, which is Star Wars: The Old Republic. It was their version of World of Warcraft, and I like that too. But that single player experience is what I want, and this looks exactly like what that is for me. And I watched a couple streamers play it, but I stopped because I didn't want to spoil anything for me, and it just looks really great. And I saw on one of the spoiler-free reviews that you can like customize your lightsaber, and it looks like there's so many different options. There was actually a thread on Twitter that IGN started where it was like, show me what your lightsaber looks like, and there was just so many different colors and combinations and everything like that. And I think that's like absolutely awesome. That's right up my alley and something I really want to do. But I didn't know what you guys thought of it, so I wanted to bring that up with you guys first. So I know that Derp is probably twitching at his keyboard to talk about Pokemon.
He's probably
my
playing it right
ass.
now. Let's be honest, he's totally playing it right now.
It's on the charger. It's on the charger. I'm grinding WoW right now.
Dude, it honestly kills your Switch battery because the time goes by so quick. I think I have like 7-8 hours in it, and I've had to charge my Switch like 3 or 4 times.
I mean, I hear it's like beautifully well done. So let's give Derp his time to shine, because we got the on scream and whine about sports
I think we need
games.
to cap him on
Derp,
his time. Just kidding.
All right, stop watching now. Oh god.
Tell us what you think.
Racing time.
What can you not like about this game? Oh my god. So pretty much graphics out of this world, honestly. It's a Switch, so it's very limited to what it can do. But I think they maximize what they can do with pretty much they maximize what they could do with what they had. That's what I'm trying to say. The Switch is not really known for too good of graphics, but it's beautiful. Mwah. Beautiful. Graphics out of this world. Pokemon designs I think are very new, although kind like a little similar for some things, but a lot of very brand new things that I did not expect to kind of see. And a lot of different older generation Pokemon have newer, not abilities, but kind of newer roles in the game, so to say. So like there's Rapidash, there's Charizard, Gigamax, there's what else? There's Farfetch'd, Evolution. Farfetch has an evolution in this game. How can you not like this game? Farfetch. Oh, Farfetch has an evolution.
That's the one with the really giant leak that's like a sword, right?
Surfetched, yes sir.
Yeah.
And that is why I bought Sword, just for Surfetched.
Oh, he's only on Pokemon Sword?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there are like different differences.
So just like the all of the games before it,
Exactly.
even though it's considered quote unquote the first console Pokemon, still follows that very similar formula.
Yes, which I would kind of be upset if they didn't do that, because that's kind of like their thing. They have two to three different variants, usually two, and then one extra if they want to make it. If not, whatever. I mean, you can trade cross game. It doesn't really matter. So say one person has sword, one person has shield. They can trade. They can trade their version onlys. That's how you have to get the other version, obviously. So it's nothing like too life altering. You can even do like wonder trades, where they used to call it wonder trade. Now it's I think like random trade or whatever. Just throw in a Pokemon that you don't want anymore, trade it to someone else, and it's just two people throw
Let's
a
see what
Pokemon they
happens.
don't want, and you get exactly see what happens.
Yeah, I remember doing that a couple times, trying to just like you send out Geodudes hoping for some gold.
Oh, absolutely.
But
Hoping for like people would used to shiny hunt for that. Like, let's see if anybody's nice and throws a shiny in there for my level 10 Zubat that I caught in the first game in the game. Like, I used to do
That's so
that,
funny.
honestly.
That's so good. So you really recommend the game Derp, and you really
Oh.
like it.
God, yes. I mean, I didn't even get to the first gym, and I'm loving it. It's the only reason I'm not playing it right now is because I have to charge my Switch. Like, that's literally the only reason. So I'm already addicted. It's a good addiction though.
That's so funny.
So-
All right, Guzzy, here's your time to shine now. You're a man of few words anyway, but tell us exactly how you feel about the game and everything.
I gotta catch them all. No, so I think it's very well done. What was the last one? Like Sun and Moon or something like that?
Sun and Moon Ultra. Technically,
And
was the last one.
What was the one before that?
Sun and Moon.
Before that?
Caught me off guard.
Look at this guy. He ain't know his Pokemon. Just kidding.
Before Sun and Moon?
Wow.
Was that Black and White too?
It might have been. So, all right. Long story short, the last. So, I mean, Pokemon, I think, has been everybody's like childhood. I played Fire and all them. Diamond and Pearl to this day are still my favorite. I think the last one I played was the Giratina one, Platinum. Which is still Diamond and Pearl, but
Yeah,
I
that's
still think Diamond and Pearl the best.
That's like the off variant that I was talking about earlier.
Right, exactly. So I mean, and I think Sinnoh, aside from like, what is it, Kanto and Hoenn regions, I think Sinnoh might be my overall favorite region. So I'm actually very happy to see some Sinnoh Pokemon in here. I'm kind of disconnected from it. Like I've obviously been keeping up a little bit, Pokemon Go and stuff like that. Naylor and I got Let's Go as well. But I mean, Let's Go was an interesting like foreshadow of what this game actually is. I think they've improved those graphics since Let Go, which is very cool. But I've been disconnected from the new Pokemon, and I think part of that was because I didn't necessarily like Pokemon that they created. I think part of it's because we've gotten older. But like I also kind of look back and I think like, okay, Pikachu and Squirtle, Charmander, whatever it is, and now it's like, okay, this is just a floating spoon, or like this is literally just a dog. Like I have a Pokemon called Yamper right now. It's just a dog that can do.
How dare you hate on Yamper? It is so cute.
No. I love Yamper. He's on my team. But
It's
like
an electric corgi, dude.
It's pretty cool. But like I think like my point is like part of Pokemon, I think it's because it's been so long. It's been over 2 decades that they're kind of running out of ideas and they're kind of just throwing things that look weird or they're stretching a little too far to make something happen, which is fine. Like there's new demographic and everything, but for my personal taste, that's what pushed me away from the game. Overall, though, I think this game is executed very well. The only thing I might change on it is the fact that it kills your battery very quickly, but I understand with the graphics. And maybe the cutscenes. Like the cutscenes are very well done. They're very good at telling a story, but I think there's too many of them at times. But like it's my first playthrough, so I'm okay with having these cutscenes for the time being. otherwise, like I think it's awesome with all the aspects. And I like the idea of throwing in Pokemon Go stuff. Of hey, do raids with each other. I'm at the point where I can breed. Hitting the point where Jay Smiles is 50 levels ahead of my top Pokemon. I've only done 2 gyms. This kid's like literally at the Elite 8 already. Which, by the way, Naylor, he found a Ditto for us, so that's good.
Okay.
Breeding's coming. He said it took him many Ultra Balls. But like the aspect of throwing in, like I found a Wobbuffet yesterday, and I was like, oh, okay, was not expecting that. I have an Eevee. Like throwing in some of these older generation Pokemon, I think allows me to connect with the game some more. Now there's 400 Pokemon or something like that to find in the Pokedex, and I think we're all going to go for 100%. I have Shield, Naylor, or Derp, and J Smiles have Sword, and Morgz, I don't know which one you're going to get, but like we're going to be able to 100% the Pokedex if we actually try, since we have both versions. It's just a matter of, do we want to grind it out for that? Otherwise, I think the game honestly was executed perfectly, and I think it came at a great time in the gaming industry.
I dig that. So yeah, me, I haven't got it yet. I want it. It's on my list. Just adulting has gotten in the way of that, and bills. I'm sure a lot of the listeners that are listening can understand that and the woes that come with it. I mean, the game looks a lot of fun. The last Pokemon I played was Pokemon Let's Go. Pokemon Red and Blue were always my favorite, all the way throughout. No matter all the ones I've played, I really liked all the Pokemon that they've added and all the different types. And as I've played the new games, found like Pokemon that I really fell in love with, like you know. But the original 151 has always hit. I mean, I could play that game just by the audio. I think at this point in my life, I've played it so many times, and I can just go through that entire game. I love it to pieces. I think it was like the perfectly well done, perfectly executed game when I was playing Pokemon Blue, and to this day, I still love to play it. Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee really brought back that love when I played, which is I think what brought me back into Pokemon. I didn't get Sun and Moon. I really like the idea of Pokemon variants. I like that idea more than I like the fact that they add new Pokemon, because I think like exactly what Guzzy said. You can only be creative for so long, and they've been trying to be creative since like what 1995. So you run out of ideas. So I think like the variance on Pokemon is really good. Like I love the fact that one, Farfetch has an evolution, which is the first time I think that's ever happened.
It brought tears to my eyes.
Yeah, exactly, and especially as I'm sure as an OG Pokemon player, seeing Farfetch, where you're like, dude, this piece of crap duck. Like,
Farfetch
now he has something. He has something to it, which is really cool. I love that like Meowth hasn't evolved for me. Fat piece of shit now. And like before that, like the Aloha forms or whatever they call them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Vulpix.
You know, there's other
Like
forms now,
Vulpix
right?
getting. Yeah, but what I'm saying is that's what I enjoy about it. Like Vulpix has like an ice form now, and like Rapidash has unicorn shit now, and I love how they drew that one up, like Ponyta Rapidash, like with the purple and the galaxy look on the top. Big fan. Anyway, I like that they're doing that with the Pokemon they have, because I feel like over the years they've drawn this giant like world map of all these different continents in the Poke world, and instead of just being like, oh my god, no one's ever heard of like a Rotom vacuum and all this stuff, or like a flying ice cream cone, like now it's like, oh, you got a Vulpix here, oh, we got a Vulpix here, oh, that's crazy, like mine's made of ice. Like I feel like that fit a lot better, and especially with like Executor, where he was more of a palm tree, like long necked palm tree, than his regular more like coconut tree. Like that was a really cool idea that I think really grasped Pokemon as a entire Poke world than it did where it was just like, oh, now we have 7,452 total Pokemon in our world decks. Like now you can kind of be like, well, now we only have 400, but there's 3 different kind of Vulpexes and 30,000 different kinds of EVs. I think that's kind of what brings Pokemon into it, and it keeps you comfortable while it keeps you guessing. Because I would much rather catch 3 different versions of Muck that look different and have slightly different stats and abilities, rather than try to catch a Pokemon that is a floating ice cream cone that gives me absolutely no interest and no game fun besides me trying to complete my Pokedex.
So Naylor, I want to ask you a question because you're obviously probably the biggest Pokemon fan here. And I know you haven't gotten super far into the game, but have you noticed that the storyline is a little bit different? Like it has a little bit of a variation than all the other Pokemon, and maybe this is something that they've changed recently, and I wouldn't know because I haven't played them. But like, let's take it back to Ruby Red and all that. Um, it was like, oh hey, here I am. I'm going to go become a Pokemon trainer, which is what this one is too. Obviously, that's the intro, but it's like, okay, now you got to go get a Pokemon, then you gotta go back and get your running shoes, whatever it is, and like, oh, be careful on this trail. Like that's all standard. But I'm finding through this game, part of it with the wild area being introduced is cool. But I'm finding the storyline's actually changing off of its traditional storyline. Like I think that's part of the reason why Pokemon to me also lost its flavor is because it was the same story every single time. Going back to the sports games, it's the same game every single time. However, this one I think they've really changed it up in ways that keeps you entertained and whatnot. Just wanted to know like your thoughts if you've noticed it or like is it a good change for the game? Like has it affected your gameplay at all?
Well, I mean, I know what you're talking about, like how every other game is like, all right, you got to a new city, your mission is to go do that, yada yada, whatever. I don't really. I mean, like I said, I just started. I kind of just got into like the wild area, which is a brand new kind of thing, which is really cool for Pokemon. Um, there's a lot of new like
Can you like
aspects.
talk about the wild too? Because I don't even know what you guys are
Yeah,
talking
so the
about.
wild area is a new kind of big, I guess, kind of like a
I
field.
would say like a safari zone type thing, but there's multiple of them in the game. Is
Yeah,
that like accurate, you think?
yes, but it's not like a safari zone. So it's free to
Right.
go in. You can heal your Pokemon, you can interact with your Pokemon while in there through camping. So it's more like a 20 acre or like a 100 acre, whatever you want to call it.
And
Kind
there's
of just
raids there too.
exactly, yeah. So there's just like a kind of like a national park, let's say, because there's like a lake, there's like lakes, there's benches, there's et cetera, et cetera. You can camp there, whatever. So you pretty much walk through each area and kind of either catch Pokemon, pick fruit off the trees for berries, interact with your Pokemon to get their XP, health, PP up, etc. Cook out for again XP or health or PP in the camping site, or you can interact with them just to kind of like play with your Pokemon, because why not interact with Pokemon? That's awesome. You can surf there if there's a lake. You can fish there if there's a lake. For Pokemon, obviously, it's kind of like a safari area, but it's like a better way to do a safari area, I would say, because safari area you only had X amount of time or X amount of steps or X amount of balls, depending on which version that you're playing. Um, you only had a kind of limited number of Pokemon that you could get, or limited types of Pokemon that you could get, which I guess you could say the same for right now, but it's a lot more. It's a lot more vast than what it used to be. So it's kind of like an open world kind of safari, I would put it as.
Okay, well that sounds really interesting, and I like that whole concept of being able to like interact with your Pokemon. And now I know where the raids were being held. I wasn't too sure how like they were going to implement the raid aspect of it. That's really cool, and I really just the whole camping idea and like being a part of the Pokemon world. Like
Yeah.
I'm a big like if you're gonna put me into this world, like it's make it so it's not just go from one dot on the map to the next, beat the boss, one to the next, beat the boss, random encounter with the quote unquote bad guys, beat the boss, be done with it, turn around, find the legendary after you beat the game, and be done with it.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, like, this Pokemon, I feel like it kind of wants to throw in the RPG aspect of you can't really be done with it. But at
Right,
the
it
same
throws in the
time,
Pokemon Go RPG aspect of it, in my opinion.
yeah. But at the same time, you technically can be done with it, but it's really hard to be quote unquote done with it. So it's like that RPG where you can't be done with it technically, I guess to say, which is a really cool aspect or like spin off of what Pokemon kind of is or used to be. So
I dig that. You're saying all the right things right now.
So
I mean, they
Makes
made it the
it
right
makes me
thing.
feel
So
like-
right, they did. I think there's one complaint now that I think of it that I kind of have. I think maybe it's just because it takes away a little bit of the challenge of the game, but I also understand it late game terms. When you do Naylor, have you done a raid yet?
no, but I've watched people do raids.
Okay, so we're gonna do a raid tonight, probably, maybe.
That's fine with me.
So when you do a raid and you beat the Pokemon, obviously you can catch it, but then like you always get awarded candies and whatnot, and those candies you can feed to your Pokemon. Like it's like a rare candy, but not a rare candy because it's more prevalent than a rare candy. So you give the candy to your Pokemon, and I had like 30 at one point, so I gave half of them to my Tyrogu, if that's how you say it, and now I have a Hitmonchan, and I got like 1500 XP, which was like 6 levels at the time.
Tyrogue, by the way.
Tyrogue, okay, sorry, yeah, Tyrogue. So here I am sitting with 6 extra levels on my guy. He evolves. I like the idea of rare candies, but I feel like these candies, and it's like sizes like extra small, small, medium, large, and each one gives you more XP as the size goes up. But I think that might be a little too OP right now because that means I could just raid every single time in the wild area and never like actually increase my Pokemon's level by battling other people. I could just give them rare candies. Again, like I said, I think it's at the beginning part, I think it's overpowered, but late game, I think if you find a new Pokemon and you have all these candies, you can quickly give it to them and power them up, which I like. But I think early game, I think it affects the gameplay because now you can automatically give yourself max level Pokemon for what they obey you with, and that kind of gives like a sour taste to when you go to a gym battle. But again, like if you're gonna stay authentic, you wouldn't do that necessarily unless you're like gonna try and level up a Pokemon that you caught that was level 3 and you need to be level 20 really quick. But to me, I think it's just slightly overpowered at the moment.
All right, so for that, I have very mixed feelings about because, like you said, you can do that. It if you're not battling the Pokemon with the Pokemon that you're trying to level up, if you're not battling an enemy Pokemon with the Pokemon that you are trying to level up, it will not give you the IPs that you are trying to get. So it's not technically getting it to the best that it could be, because the candies that you give, I think, are like APs technically.
Right.
I don't remember exactly, but I think they're like there are another different variant. But I feel like they put that in more for like breeding reasons,
Probably.
I guess to say, like trying to get like legitimately the best Pokemon that you can get with the best stats, like the best thing, rather than gen it in. For people who don't know, you can gen in Pokemon, but I feel like that might be one of the reasons. But then again, I mean, every Pokemon game that's coming out way back since Red and Blue, it's just getting easier and easier. Maybe like one or two of them were a little bit harder, but in
one
recent
honestly is easy.
times, yeah, I mean, Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee, it was way too easy. I did not finish that game because it was too easy.
Yeah, I kind of stopped too.
I put that game down because it's like, all right, I wanted to shiny farm, so I caught like, what is it, like 30 Pokemon, I guess I think it was, for the max chain, and by the time I caught that like 30, I was 10 levels above where I should be, and it's like, all right, well, I can't catch any more Pokemon on my way to the next gym, or else it's just gonna overlevel all the Pokemon I have, and I don't feel like putting my Pokemon in the PC just to catch a new Pokemon. It was very, very off-putting.
Right. And I
But
think like to tag onto that, I think I don't know, I have mixed feelings about it. Like there's no more EXP share. It's everybody gets experience whether you fight a Pokemon and feign it or you catch it or battle a trainer. I like that to an aspect where like, you're not gonna have to sit here and grind out leveling up a water type against all these fire types for a while. At the same time, it takes out that challenge of, okay, I need to find an EXP share. I need to give it to a Pokemon and like grind it out. Like the grind is what makes the game fun. Unless obviously, it's like a level 1 versus a level 60, then it gets a little bit annoying
Yeah.
changing all the time. But like they took out that EXP aspect, and I think that does hurt the game a little bit.
I mean, I do like the fact that they give you XP for catching Pokemon, because that was
Right.
kind of frustrating for like putting all your time and effort in. It's like, all right, well, you get literally nothing except for the Pokemon that you didn't
Right.
really need other than Pokedex, whatever. But I think they could have tuned it down a bit.
Right, like scale it down. Like, all right, well, did the Pokemon faint? Okay, then if they did, give them like 10% of the XP to the rest of the Pokemon. Did you catch it? Okay, then maybe you give them like 5% or something like that.
Yeah, like
to the whole
catching
team.
should not be anywhere near what you should get, I think.
Right.
Because I mean, I caught like a new Pokemon level 7 and my level 6 leveled up like a
Right.
full level because of it. Like, it didn't really make sense.
Right.
But maybe it was something that I
There could be
Over-
something deeper in the game that we just haven't experienced yet, and we'll understand then. But
exactly.
right, like what we're saying, like we think it's a little OP right now.
For the time.
Taylor, so I guess my last question for the time being is, what's your thought on having the portable computer with you?
I mean, it's easier. I don't. The only issue I have with it, I don't really know exactly because I haven't tried it out yet. If you put an injured Pokemon into the computer and then take it back out,
Does it heal?
Does it heal?
I haven't tried that either. I was wondering the same thing. Like, if I catch a Pokemon and then pull it out, is it going to be fully healed?
Because if it heals, it is the worst thing, and they have to take it out of the game or
Right.
fix that right now.
Right. I kind of
But-
feel like it's not the case.
If it's not the case, then I'm fine with it.
Right. So,
'Cause-
Morgz, essentially what happens is you get a portable computer, just so you're aware.
Okay.
And you can like access this computer. So if you catch a Pokemon, you can instantly put it into your team or something like that. Or trade out like, hey, I'm going to this grass gym. Let me put all fire types in on my team. Like, you can do stuff like that now on the go without going to a Pokemon Center.
Well, I mean, that makes sense because they'd like to keep up with like the technology around it. Like they added cell phones to the players and running shoes and things like that. So that part I can see. But yeah, I definitely, even without playing it, if you could throw a Pokemon into the PC, pull them out, and it'd be full health, which was never the case in general. Because if that was the case, it'd be so much easier than any computer. You just throw your Pokemon in and take them out.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, no, I agree that if that is the case on this, that needs to be addressed and fixed immediately because that's completely game altering.
Right. Naylor, do you have another comment on that?
I mean, not really. I was just gonna say like that you could do it in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. That's kind of really where they brought that to life, which is kind of weird because they wanted to mix that with Pokemon Go, obviously. But
Yeah, but I think the formula for like Pokemon games and Pokemon Go and Pokemon or Pokemon Let's Go were two different things. Like Pokemon Let's Go was more catch Pokemon rather than anything
well, Let's Go and
like the
Let's Go
story
Pikachu
was
Eevee was literally catch Pokemon. That's how you did everything.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like the things that they implemented there, like there was a lot of things like you were talking about that they implemented on that, but it was more of a test run onto how this will work on a console.
Right.
And some of those things I think were just built on the fact that game was a legit gotta catch them all
Right.
game.
Or it could have been a placeholder, knowing that Sword and Shield might have been 2 years out. Let's put out Let's Go, and just make it right, like you're saying, like a different formula, different spin on it. Like, think about Pokemon Snap on the N64. Like, maybe it was something like that, where it's, hey, just explore the Pokemon world in a different point of view, type of a thing.
Yeah. So I mean, regardless of the fact, it seems real. I'm real interested, and I can't wait to get it and play it. That's all I can add to this discussion. I'm sure after a few weeks of you guys playing it, and as you further progress or beat the game, we can talk about it again, and we can talk about our views after that. Just kind of like we've been doing with Call of Duty and World of Warcraft as well. Is there anything else that you guys want to add?
So, to our listeners, if you have the new Pokemon game and you want to, raid with us or trade, whatever it is, I'm personally going to be doing a lot of breeding. I find that to be one of the best things that I find interesting in Pokemon. So I'm gonna do a lot of breeding. But throw your friend code down in the comments. or Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, whatever it is. Throw your friend code down there. We'll add each other and play that way.
Truth.
I like it. Naylor, anything you want to add about the game so far before we get ready to sign off?
Nintendo has to put out faster charging so I can play more.
I'd agree.
I third that.
But
Go.
like, I guess my last comment is like, you can clearly tell Nintendo has a specific set of graphics in mind for Pokemon, and the fact that they've upgraded like the moves and whatnot, and it's different moves, and you can see the cinematic of the moves is very cool. That in alone of itself like should be a great reason why you get the game, because it's not just, oh hey look, do Thunderbolt, and then you see the Pokemon fade for a split second and the other Pokemon takes damage for a split second. It's like, no, you actually see the move building up and things like that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Like 10 out of 10. If you're a Pokemon fan, 10 out of 10 would recommend.
Right.
Hands down.
I like that. All right. Sounds very exciting to me. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to our town hall. Always fun and unscripted, like we like to keep it. And, be sure to follow us, our other shows. We got two of our hosts here for two of our shows, for Hitbox, Waxy, and
No.
Try
Derp.
again.
Try again.
No, sorry, Guzzy and
There you go.
Guzzy and Derp. I was looking at Discord and he was on there. Yeah, so they host Hitbox, which is our FPS based talk show where they talk and cover FPS related stuff. It's their show, not mine. I don't know why I'm talking about it, but does that sound about right, Derp?
Yeah, if they shoot them, we talk about it.
All right, I like it. Talk like COD, CS:GO, things like that. Pretty much any FPS. There's nothing off the limits for you guys.
Yeah, FPS. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
That's about
right,
it.
perfect. And then we got Industry Update, which is hosted by myself, Morgz, and Guzzy. And what we talk about is the business related side of what esports and the gaming industry is outside of like playing a game. Because there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the virtual screen and around it that makes the industry successful and crazy and a multi-billion-dollar industry. So be sure to check those out, as well as our social media pages. And this is where I set up with Guzzy. Guzzy, do your pitch, pal.
Facebook and YouTube are Gaming Grounds Network. Like I said, leave comments over there. It's the best way to get in touch with us. Another way is Twitter, Gaming Grounds N. And we have our individual Twitters, Derp GGN, Guzzy GGN, Morgz GGN. Go ahead and follow us there, communicate with us there. Any feedback on episodes that you've heard, any feedback on upcoming episodes as to what you want to hear, go ahead and leave that. We'll put our flair on it and go from there.
Perfect. And I really like that. I really like Disney Plus so far. Had it since release day. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, I've watched The Mandalorian. It's only two episodes in so far. Absolutely fantastic. It's like a Western Clint Eastwood meets Star Wars, and it is so good. Really recommend. Oh, and if you like Jeff Goldblum has his own show on there, and like when I grew up, Jeff Goldblum. So really appreciate that. But let me get out of here, and we'll get off and get on with our lives, as I know you guys will. So be sure to like, follow, all the other important stuff, and keep listening, because that's our most important stat. This is Morgz from the Gaming Ground Podcast Network, and all of us here at Town Hall signing off. Later.
Bye-bye.
Deuces.